A very warm welcome along to Sportsbet TV, and Paul Alster here with you with my racing selections for Aintree on Friday the 9th of April. Once again, we're very grateful indeed to the stakeshop.co.uk for sponsoring these bulletins over the Grand National meeting. They've been following me for some time and have been appreciating the success that we've had, and it's great to have them on board as sponsors. And do note that if you use the code ALSTER, A-L-S-T-E-R, my surname, in any correspondence with the stakeshop.co.uk, you will get a 20% discount on all orders. They deliver all over the mainland Britain some fantastic products. I think I said 15% yesterday, so I put you away there, just got the odds slightly wrong. It's 20% off. They're giving it away instead of 15. So that's our sponsors. Many thanks to them. And also, if you're new to the service, well, remember to press the subscribe button that is just below this screen. It's free. It keeps you in touch with all my bulletins. So all being well, you won't miss a thing. And also, if you're new to following me here, you'll be able to find out about me from the description below this video, about what I've been doing over the last 35 years in the racing media. And everything you need to know will be there, most particularly that I'm not a tipster that puts up short prices. I'm always looking for decent price runners, and that's what's kept my followers in a really good profit since we've been doing this service starting off last summer. Now, this bulletin being prepared on Thursday lunchtime for the racing on Friday, so we haven't seen how the day one runners have gone, but what we do know is that unfortunately Green Salt is a non-runner in the Fox Hunter Chase, which is a big shame because I put him up at 100 to 1, and there was obviously quite a few people following me, and the bookies got wind of it, and he was down to big as 50 to 1 really. But unfortunately the horse has an infection and will not run, so we wish him and his connections well. Let me move on to Friday, where I'm focusing on 3 races at Aintree. And the very first of them is the 145, which is the opening race of the day, so you won't have to wait long to hopefully get a shout and a run for your money. It's a 2.5 mile handicap hurdle, and there are 22 runners, very, very competitive. Now, the Skeltons have a likely sort here in the shape of Wildabout Oscar, who's probably going to go off favourite. It's won 4 of its last 5, and of course, Harry Skelton really going for it in pursuit of the jump jockey's title in the race with Brian Hughes, which could go right the way down to the wire. Now, the Tizzards have an interesting runner in the progressive Amarillo Sky. That one's stepping up from 2 miles, has a low weight. If he stays, then he could be a danger to all. Nicky Henderson has both Monte Cristo and Mr. Coffee. I rather prefer the chances of Monte Cristo, who I thought was a little unlucky at Cheltenham the other week, where he was quite badly hampered at a crucial stage of the race. But I'm looking at a bigger priced horse, as I so often do, and the horse that interests me here is called Strong Glance. He's trained by Ollie Murphy and is the mount of Aidan Coleman. Now, this is quite an interesting runner, this Strong Glance. He won a market race and handicap hurdle in January of 2020 over 2 miles 3 furlongs off a mark of 121. And then at the start of this season in October, he was second to Jacamar in a decent race, just beaten a length there off a mark of 129. Now, if you watch that race, it was here at Aintree, and he came there absolutely cruising, took up the running. And if you'd been on him that day, you would have already been counting the cash because it looked a matter of how far. But in the end, he got worried out of it, and the feeling was that he probably hit the front too soon. He's a horse who needs to be held up for a very late effort, and I'm sure that on Friday, Aidan Coleman will be looking to deliver his challenge as late as he possibly can. Now, significantly, when you look at Jacamar as a guide, it's very, very notable that Strong Glance is £13 better off for just 1 length with Jacamar, and I think that is a very significant weight pull. And he's been kept busy over the winter. He won a couple of the Jumpers Bumpers at Lingfield in February, and then he was taken off his feet just over 2 miles minimum trip for him in the county hurdle at Cheltenham off 131. I suspect that was more of a tryout, really, to see how he would handle the hurly-burly of a big race. And he's always been the horse who I think he's best at 2.5 miles, which he has on Friday. So, having been dropped £2 since Cheltenham, which is a bit of a Brucey bonus, I think he's got a really solid chance. Remember, we're looking for him to come and make his effort at the last or even halfway up the running. The later, the better. And at the time of this recording on Thursday lunchtime, the best offer I can see is 22-1 each way, and that's for 5 places with William Hill and Bet Victor. But do remember, the prices do vary. Shop around. They often can drift. And remember to bet with a bookmaker who's going to pay you the SP if that proves to be bigger than the price you take. So my first selection on Friday, or for Friday's racing, is Strong Glance for Ollie Murphy and Aidan Coleman in the 1:45 race at Aintree. Well, I'm missing out on 1 or 2 of the other feature races at Aintree on Friday because I haven't really been able to get a really solid handle on them. And I'm going to take you to the Topham Trophy, which is the 4:05. This is over the Grand National fences, so there are sure to be loads of thrills and spills and hard luck stories. 28 runners, and the favourite here is likely to be a horse called Live, Love, Laugh for Willie Mullins. Now, if you follow me regularly, you know that I nearly always tip horses each way. And indeed, since January the 1st, the only horse that I have tipped for a win bet was Live, Love, Laugh. And that was at Leopardstown 3 weeks ago, where he was 3 lengths clear, halfway up the running, and he got caught right on the line and beaten when he was a 100 to 30 chance. He's a very talented horse. He's run well over the national fences before. He was 11th in the Grand National won by Tiger Roll in 2019, and he was bang there with every chance to out before running out of puff. I think he's got a big chance, but I'm not sure that the odds are particularly attractive. I wouldn't put you off if you fancy Live, Love, Laugh, and I would be happy if he won, if our selections don't make it round or don't run their races. And I have actually come up with 2 selections. I was trying to narrow it down to 1, but I can't decide between the 2, so I'm going to put them both out there, and you can take a look and decide if you agree or disagree with my view. The first of them is called Huntsman's Son, and he's trained by Alec Hales and is the mount of Keelan Woods. He's an 11-year-old, but he's only had 16 runs in his life, so he's very lightly raced. He's won 4, 3 of them on good to soft ground and 1 on good. So clearly he's not the type of horse that is really going to be at his very best in midwinter when we've got soft and heavy ground and it's like a ploughed field. He won a race in March of 2019, which very much catches the eye because that was a novice chase at Newbury where he beat a horse called Slate House. And that went on to be a Grade 1 winner. So clearly, Huntsman's Son on his day is a very useful performer. He also won earlier this season, which was a really commendable effort and very eye-catching because he'd had a setback and missed all of last season. And he was running for the first time after 538 days. And he won a listed 2.5-mile handicap chase at Wetherby, where he beat 2 for Gold, getting £7. Surprisingly, he's £1 better off with 2 for Gold, who also is set to run in the Topham on Friday. Now, his latest run was also a very, very good effort. It was at the Cheltenham Festival 3 weeks ago, where he finished 6 of 21 behind that very much improved horse of Emmett Mullins, the Shunter. The Shunter, by the way, was bought yesterday by JP McManus for an undisclosed sum. And he's going to be taking his chance at this Aintree Festival, and he is a fast improving horse. So the fact that Huntsman's Son ran a good race behind him is a positive. He's £2 lower, and at the time of this recording, unfortunately, they took the 20-1 that was early available. That's gone. It may come back, but at the time of this recording, it isn't. 18-1 is the best odds on offer, and that is with Bet Victor. Remember, that is each way, and that'll be for 6 places. Remember to shop around. Now, the other horse, who I believe is still engaged in the Grand National, I think he's 3rd or 4th reserve, so he's unlikely to get a run. So I think connections will allow him to take his chance on Friday. And this is KAUTO RIKO, who is trained by Tom Gretton and is the mount of Sean Bowen. Now, this is a versatile horse that goes on just about any ground. To be fair, he's promised more than he's delivered, because he's shown at times that he could be a very smart horse. And indeed, he could be the type of quirky horse who thrives first time trying the national fences. This horse was 100-1 when he was only beaten 3/4 of a length in the Grade 2 Peterborough Chase at Huntingdon in 2019, only just failing to beat the high-class Top Notch. He then was second to Definitely Red, who's a very good horse. That was in a listed chase at Kelso in February of last year. He's had a wind surgery, and that was in October. Obviously, his breathing wasn't 100%, and a minor breathing operation can just get the air into a horse's lungs and make a difference. And he's just had the one run since then, and that was a great effort at Cheltenham in the Paddy Power Gold Cup in November, where he was 4th of 16 to Cool Cody. That form reads really well. He stayed on strongly at the finish. It looks to me as if they've saved him for decent ground, very possibly hoping to get in the Grand National. I think he probably won't make it unless something very unforeseen happens to one of the 40 that have already been declared. So given that he goes well fresh, I think 25-1 each way, a general price, is a sporting bet if he takes his chance for KAUTO RIKO. And in a race of 28 runners such as the Topham, I think it's good advice to split your stakes and have 2 runners. And I'll be with KAUTO RIKO and Huntsman's Son. So we'll come on to the final recommendation now. In the last race of the day at Aintree on Friday, the 5:15, a 2-mile handicap hurdle, 22 runners. There are lots of unexposed potential improvers in this race, so the markets are going to need watching very closely. And it's a race for conditional jockeys and amateur riders only, so none of the big name professionals will be riding here. Now, JP McManus has an interesting horse here called Tomorrow Mystery, trained by Paul Nicholls. It's won 4 of its 5 races. It could well still be ahead of the handicapper. And he also has another one called Campron, does JP McManus, trained by Philip Hobbs. That runs off 125, having won a Taunton novice hurdle in very eye-catching fashion. Coppolus is another interesting runner. He also won at Taunton of 123, and also at Market Raisin. And I think he's interesting, but there's a horse I've recommended to you twice already this season. The first time he didn't run, the second he did. And his name is the Widow Maker. That's WDD, the Widow Maker, for Colin Tizard and Harry Kimber, who claims £7. Now, I first tipped this horse back on January the 9th. That was when he ran for us, and I'd seen him run first time out when his saddle slipped, and despite that he ran a very, very good race. His jockey wasn't able to offer any assistance at the finish. Now, the thing about the Widowmaker, I think he probably hasn't got this name for no reason. He's a bit of a headbanger. He doesn't like to settle, or he didn't in his early races. Jockeys found it very hard to keep a hold of him. But there's no doubt about it that he has ability. And while he didn't win at 50-1 when I recommended him back earlier in the season, he went on to be 3rd at Wincanton later in January. Again, very, very keen. But the time after that, everything fell into place, and he won at Taunton very easily. He made all the running and absolutely hacked up, and he settled better. And it was the same again, first time in a handicap hurdle back at Taunton, where he again won very, very easily off 118. The jockey was looking round between the final 2 flights to see where the rest of them were. Now, he has gone up £12, and that was on testing ground, and this will be a quicker surface. And also, it is worth noting that he'll be racing for the first time going left-handed, so it'll be a new challenge for him. But I think this is a horse of some real raw ability, and because of that, I'm prepared to take a chance on him, especially as Harry Kimber, his young jockey, is really capable, and he claims £7, which will very much help the cause. And at the time of this recording, 10-1 each way is offered about the Widowmaker, and that's with Sky Bet for 6 places. Remember to shop around, but Sky Bet 10-1 each way for 6 places. and that's a pretty decent bet for me. And that is the Widow Maker at Aintree in the last race on Friday, the 5:15. Now, of course, the big race of the meeting is going to be the Grand National on Saturday at 5:15, the world's greatest steeplechase. The declarations came out just a little while ago, and I'm putting the final touches to my selections, and I expect a lot of you will be interested to hear my view. I'm sure you'll all have views of your own, but we're going to be putting up the video of my selections fairly early on Friday. It will be with you before lunchtime on Friday, so you will have plenty of time to take into account my views on the race before you make your selection. So do look out for that. Remember to press the subscribe button. Remember to check out our sponsors, whose link is just below. And thanks again to them for their support of this. And for now, with fingers crossed that our Thursday runners and our Friday runners go well, this is Paul Alster signing off at Sportsbet TV. Thanks very much for joining me.